Good day, grade 12s. Welcome to Dynamics of Perfect Markets exam prep. My name is Carden Madzokere. I'm the author of the Distinction Bound Student textbooks. All right, so in this lesson, we are going to have a look at past papers from the Department of Basic Education and see how you need to approach these lessons or these questions in an exam. All right, so obviously this one will be in section B, and it's a data response question. That's what I'm going to go through. So on this one, it will say study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. All right, so as you study the graph, you must begin to anticipate some questions, maybe questions that they'll probably ask you. All right, so if you look at this graph, you'll see that there is AVC. So you must expect a question on this point here. You see we have marginal cost curve, we have average cost curve. Expect a question on this point here. This is our price here. Expect a question on what is the market price. Yes, this is normal profit, maybe. Another question on this. All right, let's see what we have. Question number 1, identify the marginal revenue curve in the graph above. Right, we know we always say D is equal to AR, which is equal to MR, and it's that horizontal demand curve. So in this case, it will be, you see this one here, but it's labeled AR/P. So D is equal to AR, you see? So this part here that says AR, and this P is saying price. So if it's the price, that is our marginal revenue curve. So that's how you label it. So you just label it the way it's labeled in this particular question. Right, the next question. Which curve is also known as the supply curve? All right, the supply curve is the MC. And to be more correct, it's the point, it's the part of the MC curve above the AVC. So it's from A upwards. In some cases, you'll see this line here dotted. So you probably say it's the dotted line on the MC, which is above the AVC. All right, but in short, it's the marginal cost curve. Right, why will the individual firm not produce more than 60 units? Right, so 60 units here, it's the profit maximizing point because that is where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. If you produce anything above 60 units, look, if you produce unit number 61, okay, I'll just draw a weird line there. You see, that unit there, unit number 61, it costs, okay, anything above 50, let's say it costs 51, and you sell it for 50. So your profit is going to decline by 1 rand. If you sell 40, okay, but in this case, they are not asking that. If you sell unit number 59, yes, that one is worth making, but now the 60th is the best. What I mean is the previous unit before 60, it will probably cost, let's say, 49. So producing the additional unit is worth it because it will go up by one rand. So the best is 60. 50 is okay, but is not better than 60. What I mean by 50 is okay is the cost of producing unit number 50 is 30 rand. And it's not really bad to produce an additional unit, which is 51, because it probably costs 32 or somewhere there, I don't know. And produce the next unit, the next unit, the next unit until you get to 60. At 60, your profit is at maximum. Anything above 60, your profit begins to decline. So that's why you wouldn't want to produce anything above unit number 60. Here it says point B is the profit maximizing point. Any quantity more than 60, marginal cost will exceed, just like I said here, 51.50. So your profit your revenue begins to decline. The next question, how does the market demand curve differ from the curve of the individual firm? All right, this one here for the individual is horizontal. The one for the market is downward sloping. So that's where the distinction lies. The next one, what is the significance of point A? I told you, you probably expect this one. Point A is a point where, look here, where our AVC intersects our marginal cost curve. We call that the shutdown point. So it is a point that represents the shutdown for the business. At this point, the competitor cannot cover the average variable cost. So when you cannot cover this, it is to the best interest for the firm to shut down. All right, moving on to the next one. Let's study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. What do you anticipate here? Okay, we have numbers, so expect a question on calculating the total economic loss that the firm makes. Okay, here trying to confuse you, you're probably used to seeing it as AC, but AC is always average total cost. It's the same thing. Right here it says MR, and we know our MR is equal to D and equal to AR. Anything along those lines. This point here is the point, profit maximizing point, because that's where MR intersects MC. So it's our profit maximizing point. So the unit price, the price, yes, it's 50 Rand per unit. Right, identify the market structure. All right, this market structure will be perfect. The reason why we say it's perfect is because the demand curve is horizontal. Because if it's oligopoly, it would be kinked. Okay, it's not really, it doesn't look kinked, but yes. If it's monopoly, it will be downward sloping. If it's monopolistic, it will be downward sloping. You see, I made this one elastic and this one inelastic. This one here is kinked. It should look something like that. Yes. All right, so this one will be a perfectly competitive market. Give the value of the market price depicted. So the market price, I've mentioned it already. It's 50 Rand. How do we know? Because D is MR is AR. That's our price. Then how will this equilibrium position change in the long run? Okay, so what's going to happen here in the long run is, if we see what we have right now, we have a situation like this. Okay. All right, so this economic loss, and so the current price, I'll try to match it. The current price is there. So this will be the price in the industry. You see this 50 here. So what's going to happen is this economic loss that firms are making is going to make firms shut down, those that cannot cover their average variable costs. So when those firms shut down, our supply curve is going to shift to the left, because firms shutting down, they exit the industry. So supply goes down, because this is our demand curve, this is our supply curve. So it will go down to maybe S1, shift to S1, and so you see what's going to happen. Price will go up to maybe 90 per unit from 50 per unit. And when that happens, you see quantity goes down. When that happens, firms are price takers. They'll take the new market price, which is 90 Rand. So at that point, look, if the price becomes 90 Rand, average revenue becomes 90, and average cost, there, you see it's 90. So these two become equal. So when they are equal, firms will start to make a normal profit. So that's what they want there. Right, it will change to normal profit due to firms leaving the industry. In the long run, firms will leave the industry, which will increase the revenue, thereby reducing the loss. So that's what I was explaining here. Right, what condition must exist for this firm to shut down? All right, for this firm to shut down, it will shut down if we apply the shutdown rule, which is now we talk about the AVC. So if the AVC is, let's say, to MC, not MC, to marginal, yes, where it intersects marginal cost. So let's say if the AVC is the AVC, at this point, you see, the MC intersects the AVC there. So that becomes the shutdown. So this particular firm will have to shut down if the AVC is there. So what we want here is something along the lines of when a firm cannot cover its average variable cost, it will have to shut down. Or when its price, or MC, even MR, or price, or I can say AR, if its average revenue is average revenue less or equal to AVC, the firm should shut down. It should continue if its AVC is less than AR. Okay, something like that. So when it cannot meet its average variable cost, or price is less than or equal to AVC, or total revenue is less than AVC, like I said here, here, when AVC is greater, you see, this is greater than, but here it's pointing at this, so meaning AVC is bigger than total revenue, like that. All right, so when the firm's total revenue is less than its variable cost, then the firm should shut down. When marginal revenue is equal to AVC, or just like I was showing you there, then now calculate the economic loss faced by this firm. So yes, this firm is making economic loss. It's producing at 90 and selling at 50. So those that cannot meet their average variable cost, they exit the industry, price goes up, and then the ones remaining will make a normal profit. We have explained that part. But now calculate the economic loss. So how you can do it is, number one, one way is total revenue minus total cost. So to get your total revenue, it will be average revenue times quantity. So our average revenue is 50, our quantity is 100, and then from there we get our total cost, which is 90 times 100. So it's easy, it's 5,000 minus 9,000. Another way is simply 50 minus 90, which is negative 40. Negative 40 times 100, that's negative 4,000. All right, so there we have it, as simple as that. Right, the next one, I normally want you to study this before you even read. Right, let's see. Study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. Sorry. Right, what we have here is something that you probably haven't seen before. The way it's leveled, like there's N, there's R, there's K, there's, S. It doesn't matter what you see here. You just have to apply what you know, because if they tell you already this is the MC, so you already know what this is. So they'll probably ask you what is L. All right, then this is our profit maximizing point. Is the only point of significance here. S, K, and R, they are not significant at all. So if ever you're asked, none of these should be the answer. MR, AR, that's our D as well. P, okay, this one is the price, and M is the cost, the average cost. All right, let's see the questions. Which point or level on the graph indicates profit maximization? That will be N, just like I mentioned. Name the curve labeled L. L is our AC. Simple as that. So it's our average cost curve. What is depicted by the shaded area? The shaded area, this part, it represents economic profit, because our cost is less than our revenue. So this will be economic profit. Right, the next one, briefly explain the term short run. So the short run is that point or period where only variable factors of production can change. Another way of explaining is that there is at least one fixed input or fixed costs remain constant. Right, the next one, oh my goodness. Explain why this equilibrium position will not remain fixed. All right, this is the same as the previous one in a way, but a bit different. All right, so we have demand, we have supply. Okay, where the two meet, they give us the price. In this case, it's P1, like you see there. So our price there is P1, so that becomes the market price. D is equals to AR, which is equal to MR. And this is our marginal cost curve, and this is our quantity for the individual producer. And as you can see, this firm is making an economic profit. This is our AC, but there is labeled L. All right, so because of this firm is making this economic profit. Here they say it's P1, here they say it's M. Right, whatever these prices represent. Right, now this economic profit that individual firms are making, it attracts firms into the industry. And when that happens, firms enter, because in this market structure, entry is free. So because of that freedom of entry, firms will enter into this market structure, and when they enter, supply is going to shift to the right. You see, it's the opposite of what happened in the previous one. In the previous one, supply shifted to the left because firms were exiting. So the economic loss in the previous question, it made firms exit the industry. So it drops to say M. And when that happens, what happens? Firms start to make normal profit. So our answer is the same. Profits will attract more entrants from the market, which will lead to an increase in supply. So that increase in supply, then this will drive prices down towards average cost, and profits will decrease. The new equilibrium position will be a normal profit. So the main word they are looking for in your answer is this one. And you want to mention that firms enter. Yes, this part here is very important. And you also want to talk about this. Price will decrease. All right. The next one is study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. All right, point A is significant. That's our profit maximizing point. 1/3 is our output. Price is 12. And this firm is making economic profit. Right, so provide the graph. Okay, so mention something about perfect and economic profit in your heading. So economic profit in a perfect market. Right, which point indicates profit maximization? That will be point A. I told you that this point is significant. Why? Because a firm maximizes its profit where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. This is a rule, so you must always apply it. You see how many times we are coming across this question. All right, so you must remember this rule always. Right, which point indicates profit? Okay, yes, that will be point A. How will price and quantity in this market structure change in the long run? It's the same question from the previous slide. Do you see what they do in the exam? There are questions that they repeat. They can slightly change, but the answer is the same. The price will decrease due to increase in competition, and because this increase in competition is happening because firms enter, and they enter because there's that freedom of entry, and the quantity will increase due to mass production, so on. So and here they didn't mention the part. Okay, they specified these two, price and quantity. All right, so price, yes, price is going to increase, and then quantity is going to increase as well. Okay, so it's a bit different, and so if you confuse it like I almost did, you're going to talk about economic normal profit. But here, be careful. How will price and quantity, those two? Right, determine the total profit or loss. So they don't want to tell you what it is, because that will give you a clue on this. So yes, we all know it's economic profit. Why? Because AR is greater than AC. AR is 12, AC is 10. So because of that, the firm is making 2 rand profit per unit. So it's as simple as 2 times 130, which is 260, before you even calculate. So your answer must be that. 260, there we have it. Right there and right there. But how do we do it? We can say the difference between these two times this, or we can say that other one, total revenue minus total cost. To get our total revenue, we say average revenue times quantity. To get our total cost, we say average cost times quantity. But this one is the shortest, the one where you say 12 minus 10, which is 2. 2 times 130, you get it. All right, the next question, study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. This one is economic loss once again. So you see, they can either give you normal profit, economic, or this and that. Right, what do we have to study? It's not labeled. So if it's not labeled, yes, they probably won't ask you that. But it says economic loss, so you'll probably be asked to calculate it. As you have seen a couple of times, this is our demand curve. Maybe they'll ask about that. Right, what is the visible relationship between the MC and the AC? All right, on this one, they want you to talk about this point here, where they meet. So the MC curve cuts the AC at the lowest turning point. That's what they want you to say. So you may want to say something different, but that's the answer they'll be looking for. Define the term economic loss. Okay, economic loss, you can simply define it as a situation where our average revenue is less than our average cost. You can say it like that, or you can say where business average cost exceeds the price, but it's the same, or is the same as what I said here, when average revenue is less than average cost. I don't know why they talked about marginal cost here. Yes, because that's what the memo said, but not necessarily marginal cost, because marginal cost doesn't have much to do with economic loss, but average cost and average revenue. All right, why is the demand curve of the individual producer horizontal or flat? It is horizontal because as you are a price taker, the quantity you produce as an individual does not change or affect the market price, because you as an individual producer in this market structure, you are just a drop in an ocean, so it doesn't affect anything. So it indicates that you're a price taker, like I mentioned. Right, calculate the economic loss. Okay, it's 5 rand, or negative 10 minus 15, which is negative 5. Negative 5 times 50, that's negative 2250, sorry. All right, so it's easy. Again, you can use that long one, which is total revenue minus total cost. And you know this one, you say quantity AR times Q. Here you say AC times Q. You get it. But you see, whichever method you use, now I prefer this one. It's the easiest, it's the shortest. Find the difference there and multiply by the quantity. So the difference here is 5, negative 5, then you say times 50. As simple as that. So each one gives you full marks. So personally, I prefer this, but I'll obviously teach both because you guys are different. Right, the next one. Let's see, this one is normal profit. So you see that there are times when they ask you normal profit. There are times when they ask you, economic profit. There are times when they ask you economic loss. Right, and they are always labeling them differently. Here we see 3 different quantities, so probably expect to be asked about this. You might also anticipate shut down. I don't know what they'll ask. All right, identify the quantity identify the quantity the firm will produce at equilibrium point. Right, that will be 180. Why? Because that's where MC intersects MR. And this is a rule, like I mentioned before. All right, so that will be 180. Which curve represents the market price? Which curve, sorry, represents the market price for the perfect competitor? It will be this one here, AR, MR, D, that one. Briefly describe the term normal profit. Okay, normal profit, that's the least that a firm should earn for it to prevent it from exiting the industry. Or you can say it is where your average revenue is equal to your average cost. You can say that. What will the impact on the market be if many firms leave this industry? When firms leave an industry, what happens? Supply shifts to the left. And when that happens, price goes up. So that's the effect. The supply curve in the market will shift to the left. That is a decrease in supply. And then for that reason, market will go up. The market price will go up. Then they want you to redraw the graph above and insert an average variable cost, AVC. So AVC is always somewhere below. So you can put it like this and say AVC. And then they say what? To clearly indicate the shutdown. Okay, then it will be this point. Then you write shut down. So that's easy. Okay, so there we have it. So you get your full marks for that. You see, they want you to label your axis. Then you must indicate shutdown. And this one is receiving 2 marks for it. And the curve itself by drawing it and the labeling of the curve itself. So that's exactly what I did. And so I'll get 4 full marks. The next one, study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. Right, we have the industry, we have the individual business. So this is the entire industry, like the maize industry. This is the individual maize farmer. They say here, what market structure? Okay, this is perfect. Why? Because our demand curve is horizontal and it indicates that firms are price takers. So this will be a perfectly competitive market. What is the market price? The market price is 50. I wonder why they would ask this question, because there is nothing to confuse you. There is no way you can think the price is 10 because this is not even the price axis. So the price will be 50. Briefly describe the term opportunity cost. Okay, opportunity cost is nothing but the value of the next best alternative that is given up. Just like if you, okay, right now what I'm doing, opportunity cost. I could be sleeping. So doing what I'm doing is costing me a sleep. I could be doing other things right now. Whatever it is that I could be doing, I'm giving it up. So that's opportunity cost. All right. Why is it not possible for a single business to adjust the selling price? Wow, because you are just a drop in an ocean. The price is determined by market forces of demand and supply. And so you as an individual firm, you are a price taker. You are just a drop in the ocean. You can't influence price. And the other reason is firms have full knowledge. They know exactly where to get the same product for the right price for 50 Rand. So you trying to sell at 55. People will just come into your shop. They notice it's 55. They won't buy it. They'll go to the next shop. They know they'll get the same product. Because remember, products are homogeneous. The same product at 50 Rand. Why? Because that's the market price. Right, so they are, okay, yes, that's what I was saying. Just read it. Right, explain the effect on the market in the long run if the business above in a perfect market made economic. Okay, what they are saying is, okay, so our marginal cost will probably be there, MC. So they are talking about this kind of a situation here, AC. You see, it's the same thing that we have been talking about. So this is our economic profit. Let's say 40. So the firm is making 10 rand per unit. Now this economic profit here is going to attract firms. So supply is going to shift to S1. Because of that, price is going to drop to 40. And firms will follow suit. So explain the effect. So the effect is nothing but normal profit. There we go. This will attract new entrants, yes, into the market, which will result in a market supply curve shifting to the right. You see, it shifted to the right. And then market equilibrium price will fall. You see there, it's falling, and then reducing the profits, and then normal profit there. So normal profit will be achieved in the long run. All right, the next one, let's study this graph and answer the questions. We have an industry and individual. We don't have MC, all that. I don't know what they'll ask. What do we have here? We have the price here, 3. We have, okay, this is the equilibrium for the industry, and this is the quantity for the entire industry. All right, we get it. What are the questions? At which price will the individual business sell its product? Obviously at 3 rand, because that's what the market price says. That's what demand and supply says. How is the slope of the demand curve of the industry? You see this? It is downward sloping, or it is negative sloping, however you want to say. Briefly explain the phrase, businesses are price takers. Okay, just describe it. Businesses take the price from the market. Find a way to say this. Businesses cannot determine their own price, but take the price determined by the market. How are prices determined in the industry? There you can see these two guys here, demand and supply. So where these two market forces meet, that's where the price is. In your answer book, redraw the graph of the individual firm and insert curves that show the business is making economic profit. All right, so first you have to insert your marginal cost curve, and with that it gives you the quantity. So if for the entire industry is that, you just make up a number and say 3 or 2, whatever. All right, if this is the case, then you put your AC, and when you put your AC there, it costs the business 2 rands to make what they sell at 3. So the business is making economic profit. There we go, something like this. Oh, okay, same price. This is madness. How can it be the same as the industry? All right, there we have it. The next one, which is the last data response question I'm giving here, I mainly focused on the graphs. Typically is because they normally ask the graphs. If it's not that, mostly it's this part, which is the competition commission and so on, appeal court and competition tribunal. Right, the competition commission, okay, so point this out, is a statutory body constituted in the terms of the Competition Act by the government of South Africa and mandated to investigate, control. You see, this here is the role of this, the competition commission: control and evaluate restrictive business practice. This term here, very important. Abuse of dominance or dominant positions. This part here is very important. And mergers, okay, when businesses come together, because sometimes they merge to, because if there are 3 businesses in the entire industry, it's called oligopoly, right? If those 3 merge, they become a monopoly. So what does it do? It reduces competition. So these guys here, they are watching on such things because they know that competition is good. And when businesses merge, they reduce that competition. Businesses win, consumers lose, because consumers thrive in competition. Because when businesses are enemies, they try to reduce prices, they try to do things they try to be innovative, they do all those things. They say we open during weekends, door-to-door deliveries, loyalty points, all those things, and we get all that because of competition. So these guys will be watching, hey, why are you merging? So that's important, eh? Right. In order to achieve equity, efficiency in the South African economy. Now, since it is responsible for investigating all, okay, you see this one, that's a responsibility, investigating all complaints and anti-competitive practice across the entire economy. It receives vast number of complaints about the different types of anti-competitive behavior relating to all market sectors. Right? If found guilty, by who? By these guys, a fine is imposed. So there's punishment, which is endorsed by the competition tribunal. Right. Identify 2 examples of anti-competitive behavior. Those things that I was saying, they're important. All right, so we have what? Abuse of dominance. And then we have mergers. And then we have restrictive business practices. What is the role of the Competition Commission? There is there to investigate, to control, and to evaluate business practices. Abuse of dominance, position, all that stuff. Yes, that's what you say. Tries to give all South Africans equal opportunity. That's their role. What can businesses do if they are not happy with the fine? You see, this fine that is imposed. What happens if you are not happy? If you are not happy, you have to appeal. Oh, I hope I spelled it correctly. Or is it double P? Whatever. Right, so you have to appeal. But with whom? You appeal with the other body. So there are 3. Competition Commission, Competition Tribunal, and then Competition Appeal Court. Okay. Right, so you have to appeal. Yay, it's double P. So they can approach the Competition Appeal Court and appeal. That's the word. How can consumers benefit from increased competition in the economy? I think I mentioned it when I was talking about mergers here. When firms compete, come on, there's a lot that happens. It provides us with equal opportunity. It will provide for markets in which consumers have access to. Look, when there are many businesses out there, when they are competing, when they are enemies, us as consumers benefit. I want to hear something like that in your response. All right. So this brings us to the end, and so I'll do 14 of these because we have 14 topics in our syllabus, and so we have exam prep for secular flow. There will be business cycles, public sector, all those. So yes, I started with dynamics of imperfect markets, and right now here it's dynamics of perfect markets. Then from here, I think I'm going to do secular flow. I'll just decide what's next. All right, so thank you so much. I hope this lesson taught you something that you didn't know, and yeah, it gave you some skills as to how to answer questions in an exam. So thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if it helped.